Now let's learn how we could add a functionality which would allow these users to go ahead and create posts. So in order to be able to create posts, what we will do is that we'll create a brand new app. So we already have the users app in there, and the users app is essentially used for handling the registration process. But whenever we want to work on the core functionality of our app, let's create a different app for that. So let's create an app called as posts, and for that let's go back to the terminal. Let's clear up the terminal. Make sure that you're actually present into your social project or the project directory or whatever you would like to call it. Here we should have the project name and the users app directory as well, and here is where we are going to create a new app which is posts. So here I would say Django-admin start app. Let's call this app as posts, and once that app is created, the very first thing which needs to be done is that you need to go to the settings.py file of your main project and simply add that particular app name inside installed apps. So in here, along with users, I would also add posts, and once we do that, we should be good to go. Now once we have this, as now we want to be able to save posts, we will go inside the posts app, and in here let's first close all the tabs, and then let's go to posts, and in here we need to work on creating a post model which is going to save our posts. So in order to save post, let's create a post model. So class post, and let's say this extends from models.model. And now let's create the different fields which we want for this post. So this is essentially a social media application, and inside a social media application you should be able to add an image to a post. So let's create the first field as image. The image field is going to be nothing but models.image field, and then to this particular image field we also need to upload to a particular folder. So we set the upload to parameter. So upload _to, and we basically want to upload to images / and then we want to name this thing as %y /%m /%d. Okay, so now once we have added the image field, let's say we also want to add a caption for this image as well. So the caption is going to be nothing but it's simply going to be a text field. So I would say model.text field, and you could actually leave the caption as blank. So I would set the blank of this thing to true. Okay, so once this thing is done, let's add a couple more fields here. So let's add a title for this particular post. So I would say title is going to be equal to the same thing, which is models, and instead of text field, let's say I want to say car field this time. So car field, let's say the max length I want for this thing is going to be 200. And now every post which you are going to make is obviously going to be associated with the user, because you cannot make a post without being logged in into an application, and there is going to be no post which is going to not have any kind of a user. That means now here I need to go ahead and import the user model as well, and the user model is actually present in the settings. So here I would say from django.conf import settings first, and then add the user field here and associate it with the user model which we have in the settings. So I'll create a new field here, user. This is going to be a foreign key. So I would say models.foreign key, and this is going to associate every post with a unique user. So here I would say settings dot, and in order to associate it with the user model, I would say auth_user_model. And then I'm also going to set the on delete of this thing to, let's say, models.cascade. Okay, so once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. Now let's see what other kind of fields do we have there or need to have there. So let's say we also want to create a slug for this. So slug is nothing but it's basically some random set of characters which could be used. So here I would say slug equals models dot slug field, and the slug field is essentially useful whenever we want to associate a URL with a specific post. So here I would say the max length I want for this thing is going to be 200. So max length is going to be 200, and this field could also be blank. So I would set the blank of this thing to true. And now we also want to be able to set the date on which this post is created. So I would say created equals, that's going to be models.date field, And now I basically want to set the value of this thing by default to the current date and time, and therefore to set that I would set the auto now add field to true, which means that we automatically want to set the date field to the current date which we have. Okay, so once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. So now let's go ahead and let's add a string method for this. So def double underscore str double underscore, let's pass in self, and this thing needs to return the title of this particular image or this particular post. So I would make this thing return self dot, that's going to be title. Okay, so now once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. Now our next job is to go ahead and create a slug field for this one. So the value of slug needs to be automatically set, and in order to generate a slug out of this, what we will do is that we will override the save method for this particular model. So what overriding the save method means is that, let's say whenever you create an object of the type post, which means that whenever you are creating a post, we all know that an object is created, and whenever we save that particular object, certain set of things or certain set of code is executed. And if you want to add another set of code to that particular save method, you could override the save method for this particular model here itself. So we are going to be using that particular save method to write code to generate this particular slug automatically. So let's go ahead and let's do that in the next lecture.